Good morning and welcome back. Today I am tackling my ribbon burner. Yeah, I've known for, ever since before I went to Colorado that it needed to be fixed. So anyway, I took it apart yesterday, and just as I thought, it was blowing a little bit of flame out the side, and I didn't. Wait a minute, I'll be right back. Okay, I wasn't very well thought out this morning. I hadn't had enough coffee, that's what it is. So I brought, what happened to this thing? It was broken. There was a spot come out of the side of it, and that's where the flame was coming from, letting a little gas leak through. And you can see that the last time I lined the forge with Satanite, I went stupid and I filled my holes in, so I didn't have as many burner tubes as I thought I did. I thought it looked funny, but it was being very inefficient. So with that, and here's is the upper end that was in the burner housing itself. I said, this is the bottom, this is the forge side, this is the burner side. The holes was there, it's just they got covered up. And when I took it out, it was broke. I lifted the top section off, and this part stayed in the forge, so I had to get it out. So I've been having to re-engineer the mold I made for it. And the mold is this right here. It's got straws in there. Some people use crayons, you can whatever like that. And I'm gonna, before I get to do everything, I've got some silicone spray. I'm gonna spray everything down on the inside of this. But this is the mold that I used before, and I made it a little bit too big, and it just went in the hole. So this one right here is a little bit smaller, and it more fills up the hole, or it will when I get some end plates welded on this. And flames when they get in there, they'll melt the steel and make the opening a little bit bigger. It's what it did lengthwise. I caught it on the width though before it really done any damage. So here's the holes on the bottom for the tubes to go through. You can see all the screw marks where I had it together, where I set it on there before and made the mold. Now this time, to get the concrete a little bit deeper in there, I've recessed this. I've set this all down in there, so that makes the part that goes to the furnace in there, it didn't change its height. So I changed the depth on it so there'd be more in the burner box. So, and the edges will catch a little better, and I'm going to weld a couple of hooks on it, one on each side, and then I'm going to put I have fiberglass to go in my castable refractory, and I'm going to put some welding rods that I have. I'm going to cut them to size, and as I put the mortar in, I'm going to lay them in there too, and cross them and make sure that everything stays good, because I don't want this breaking out again. Everything, and I don't know how long I'm going to have to cure it, but hopefully it probably have to go 7 or 8 days. So, while that's drying, I'm going to be doing some maintenance on my grinder again. And it's time to replace the glass, the hard surface on my Platin, which I hope everybody knows it's just a fixed Platin, because it's a 3-wheel 1x42. And when I got juried in to the Georgia Custom Knife Makers Guild, and they looked at it, three prominent knife makers looked at it. One of them was Tony from Pop's Knife Supply. I can't really remember. James, I think, is the other one, and I don't know what I can't remember if I'm not around everybody a day or two or whatever like that, I'll forget their names. So anyway, he looked at them and loved them. Said that, hey, they was good, right on point. Said for the price range that I had on them, he said they was point on. I said, well, it's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure from a bona fide professional that's done it and teaches it and everything else like I do, but uses a 2x72. I said, I use a 1x42. And he said, oh my God, you get this results off of 1x42. Said, I can't wait to see what you do on a 2x72. I said, well, that would be super great if I could, if I could afford it. I just don't have name recognition like some of the others I use, like Stan Wilson, and Lynn Ree, and Niels Vandenberg, Sam Towns, Alex Norton at Valhalla Ironworks, and the list goes on and on and on. All good knife makers. All good knife makers. So, and I'd be proud to own any one of their knives. I truly would. But I own my own knives. To me, that's better. Because I get to bitch around about, what I did wrong. And so, speaking of what I did wrong, now, I told a story, but I'm going to retell it. When I was a boy, about 6, maybe 7, yeah, 6 probably, come to think about it, that was, my father ordered a FM radio. It was a box type, but I don't know, probably 18 inches long, 10 inches high, and about 8 inches deep. And so he could put it together. He was getting into electronics a little bit. And so he built it. He followed the idiot sheet and right down to it. And when he went to turn it on, or he went to plug it up, he'd left the knob on and the volume wide open. He hadn't thought about it. And it hit a radio station, just boom, crystal clear. I don't know, it's just like it picks up the world. Anyway, that was his pride and joy. And till the house burnt down, it never left his, it was in all of his, the house growing up where we was at in Robbinsville. We moved from Robbinsville to another house, and the radio was there. We moved into the house that he built, which is still there. My brother lives in that, and then when he built another duplex, so he could live in one and rent the other one, like that, it was there. He'd never put anything on it. There was no marks on it, no whore. He wouldn't even let a lace doily go on top of it, because my mother crocheted. She didn't knit. She just crocheted, and she made some little dollies to put on it, and he'd take them off. He said, no, there ain't nothing going on my radio. Okay, wasn't scratched, nothing. Well, I started actually making knives probably in 11 or 12, kind of making them and for the family, and first one person and another, just for the heck of it. And then started at about 15, but anyway, making them professionally to sell to people. And I am a custom knife maker, so I can make almost anything, except for fantasy stuff. I don't do fantasy stuff. I've got some wild looking knives, but nothing, no swords or anything else like that. But anyway, long story short is, or short story long, is I give my father a knife. Not too awful long after he moved in to his house. I give him one. And he looked at it, and I told him, I said, listen, it's just a rough, crude knife that I'm making, trying to do a few things there. Just take it, use it, dig taters with it, gravel them out and do whatever you need to. Cut everything. Well, he looked at it and he said, I like that. I said, I like that a lot. I said, well, I made it to use, so use it. He said, okay. So anyway, when I left, next time I come over there, my knife, or his knife, in the cheap sheath, I'm talking about, this is one of them Smoky Mountain Knife Works cheap ones. I think at the time it was like $2 for the sheath, or $1.50 or something like that. It's not leather, it's just man-made stuff. But anyway, that's what it is. That's the cheap one. I had to notch it right there to make it work, so it'd snap in and everything, get it down in there where it'd stay a little more. Actually get it below the leather or a little bit. See, right there it is. Just a little bit below, but it's still below. And anyway, next time I was over there, I went in and looked. The radio's there. It's eyeball level on top of a china cabinet, a small china cabinet, or a hutch, whatever. And this knife right here was laying on top of it. He looked at it, he thumbed it, he done everything right there in front of me, and then he took it and put it on top of his radio. There's never been nothing else on that radio. And that's when he died. This is where I got this. I got it back. And thankfully that I did, because when the house burnt, it didn't leave nothing. It got it all. So anyway, this is one of the first few knives that I made. And this is it. I put some and it's got an elkhorn handle, and I wish I hadn't have put the African cherry spacers on the tang under the handle. But it's not rusty. Well, there's a couple of little spots on it, but it's been stored in this piece of crap leather sheath, or faux leather, in a house, and it's not done anything. It's not rusted. It's not, there's a little bit right there, and that's it. That's all it's on it. So this went to him at about 11. So this is 23. So that's 14 years he's had this knife. Well, that's 12 years, I guess. Yeah, be 12 years he's had that knife. And that's the only spot of rust on it. It has a differential heat treat on it. I didn't clay this, and I just set it down in the oil and let it go. It was what I'd basically done. I just put it in and edge rolled it like that right there in the oil, and it was hydraulic fluid, yes, off from my tractor. I had to think just for a second, and so that's how that does that. But it's big, it's chunky, it kind of fits your hand, but like I said, it's his knife, and it was since I got it, since I made it. I said God, I meant made, and that's my old mark, JBS. Yeah, Bobby Joe Shields. So My hands won't hold on to nothing anymore. But that right there is as good as it gets. It's still sharp. Popping hair. It's not the sharpest. It's not super sharp like I like to get them anymore, but it's sharp. It'll shave you sharp. So, and he's not touched it. He didn't do a thing with it. Took it in there and put it on top of that radio. So I'm glad I got it back before the house burnt. Wish I'd have took the radio too. I honestly do. But you know, if wishes was crackers, we'd all be fat. So anyway, so now I'm going to get back on the fixing of my ribbon burner, the forge there. So I've got to order some Satanite. I've got a little bit, but I ain't got much. And I've got the refractory, but I have to do some stuff to the to my burner, so I'll be outside when it's cold and it's and do some welding. I've got to do a little bit of welding on it, and I'm going to put a better system. It just didn't have anything other than this lip around the edge there to hold it on. And yes, there's an 1.5 inch pipe what goes in there, and this is a piece of 2 inches thin wall tubing. It's not 1/4 inch or anything else like it. I welded some end caps on it on both ends, and the inside of it looks good. It's just a little light rust, and I mean it's from my metal and moisture and air and everything else. See, that's what I got to worry about with this is moisture. And the stuff only supposed to take, what is it, 5 pints of water per 55 pounds. So that's what it says. It's 3,000 rated castable refractory. It's got gravel in it, just like these do, and I'm going to add fiberglass to it to help keep it from doing this again. Hopefully, I think this one had some fiberglass in it. That's the reason it lasted so long. But yeah, it kind of cracked a little bit. So right there, and like I said, all I done was picked up the top of it. Picked this up with a pipe on it, and this stayed in the forge. So anyway, I'm gonna get to it. I didn't film taking it apart or anything else like that, but I'll put it. I'll show it going back together and everything. I got to get some Satanite first and recover the kale wool that I've got in there. It's got about 2 inches of refractory on it, and about, I think it was a 2 inch, 1.5 inch or 2 inch kale wool that's been flaked and everything. It's down to about 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch now, but it still works good. I just got to put Satanite on it to cover it up. And if you know anything better than Satanite, that's, that can be spread like that, I'll have to do it by hand. There ain't no way I can get tools in it, and I want to make sure that I don't plug this up, so I'll coat it before I put the burner in there. Well, anyway, it's time for me to get back to work and start cutting some stuff. I've got a few more knives that I haven't done anything with outside. I just pulled up stakes and called it quits for a little bit, and on them after I stood for like 7 hours, 6.5, 7 hours grinding all these to shape, and I've still got my gut hooks. I'm gonna put some pre-bevels in before I go out there and do the actual beveling on them. So that means that's going to be a lot of file work for right now. And then I got some that while they're still chunky and thick, that I'm going to put put in some jimping and maybe do some spine filing on it. It's been a while since I've done that, and you need to practice that or you forget it. And so I've got 5 months to do this, and I'm going to have probably 100 knives or more, I hope, if nothing happens, good Lord willing. And these shingles don't keep me from doing, because when you start doing, or when I start doing stuff, these shingles, the shirts and everything that you put on, aggravate them. And I'm doing everything. My general said, yep, said you done just exactly like the emergency room doctor said. And he said, or you're telling me what they said, and I agree with that 100%. I said, good, because that's what I wanted this appointment for, is to verify that I was doing. I'm taking Neurontin for nerves, for restless legs, and to help calm the nerves down in my back so that it don't kill me as bad. So anyway, with that, the emergency room doctor said, boy, it's a good thing that you're on this. Said, you can, since you're on it already, I don't have to prescribe it, but you need to double your dose. Said, that'll help calm it down. Said, I know this stuff it's nasty, it's terrible. And said, you can hurt. And before I left Colorado, I went to my doctor, and I complained about my back was killing me. I don't know what I'd done or if I'd done anything, but it was killing me. I may have hurt myself sleeping. I don't know. So that's what I told him. I said, I have no idea what I've done. And he said, well, let's go x-ray it. And I said, well, okay, we'll go x-ray it. I said, but if it's muscle related, it'll take a CAT scan or something, So I done the x-rays, and then I left. And nobody called me on them, so I assumed they was good. So I told him when I went and seen him, I told him I thought I had shingles. And he didn't seem to think so, but anyway, this time I went back and he said, you told me you thought you had shingles and now you got them. So yeah. He said, I'll have to trust the patient a little bit more now. I said, well, I live in my own body, so I ought to know what's going on in it. Kind of, sort of. And he said, well, yeah, that's true. So, and he verified, like I said, he verified the Neurontin and the pain pills and everything to manage it. And he said, you're doing real good. Don't look like you've been digging at them. I said, Doc, I've been wanting to bad. He said, well, you're doing good by not doing it. And I said, well, it still kills me to put on a shirt and everything. It goes to rubbing. Well, anyway, that's enough of my miseries and everything. I'm sure everybody out there in the world has got worse miseries than I do. So, so all I can say is God bless you all, and this is going to be hopefully go out before Christmas. I got a couple of videos, and I'll stick them up as soon as I get done with them and done with the little projects that I got there. But this one will be an ongoing one. It'll be more multi-part, because I'll wind up talking more than I do working. So anyway, I'm gonna get on off here and do something before I talk 10 hours worth of video out. So till next time, it's Bobby Shilsing. God bless.